In
Maar
any
ja,
case,
hier is Moelman. Moelman, next to
the
Moelman.
island.
Then we're going to go to Leeuwplaas. So
Leeuwplaas.
this is the Leeuwplaas area.
And often it happens that those guys on that bend are fishing in the afternoon straight into the wind. The barbel, those ants, you'll put them between 85 and 105.
Yes.
Welcome to another episode of the Original Podcast with me, your host, Saki van der Kerk. Alright, welcome back to another episode of the Original Podcast. We are recording this one nice and late for me, so if you see me dozing off a little bit, I apologize beforehand. But before we start, Dad, welcome to the Original Podcast.
Thanks, Samuel Saki. I thought you were going to say it's early for you, because it's early hours of the morning for you already. But in any case, yes, thanks a million. It's lucky to be back and lucky to chat to Richard again. Our guest for tonight. I think it's always informative to talk to him. He's got plenty years of experience, and let's hear what he's got to say.
Yeah, and we've been waiting for 2 weeks now for this episode. We were actually planning on doing this episode last week, but the stars just didn't align for that episode, so we tried again this week. And luckily, after a little bit of waiting, we finally got to the point. Richard, welcome back to the episode.
Thanks a lot, guys. I mean, it's a pleasure to be back. And let's just have a chat tonight again. I'm sure your dad's feeling better after the weekend. Apparently, had a bit of ups and downs with the boat this weekend. So let's hear what he had to say as well.
Oh, well, he's got a smile on his face, so I assume things are a little bit better now. You guys are very matchy with your shirts tonight. Very similar.
I'll just have to embroider these.
I just got home and we had to start setting up. We were obviously late. The traffic was hectic tonight. So, we are at least.
Yeah. Well, Richard, this is now episode 4 for you, or episode 3?
I think it's episode 3.
3. Yeah, because we've done a couple of episodes with you before. So for the listeners back home, we always do, when we get a new guest, we do a little bit of a background, a fishing background of the guests. So if you want to find out a little bit more about Richard's background, which is lengthy and very nice to hear about, you can go check the first episode that we did. I will do that. I'll leave a link in the description down below for you to go check that video first. But watch this video first and then go watch that one, because I think there's going to be quite a lot of information that's going to be in tonight's episode. And while you're down there, remember to like, subscribe. We haven't said that in a couple of weeks. Every time when I do the editing, I'm like, I forgot to mention. You guys need to subscribe and like, because I can see on the analytics that about 50% of the people are not subscribed. So more than half of the watch hours that we get are people that are not subscribed. And you can see it's recurring viewers, but they just never subscribe. And if you want to join the membership, we also have the membership. So you can check in the link down below. You can click on the membership. If you want to support us here, there's a couple of videos going out this week. We've got one episode from DQ, the bass episode that I still need to give, and the episode with Neville. So there's 2 videos that's coming to the members quite soon, which is a little bit extra that we just do on top for the members, so you guys can go check that out. But yeah, Richard, we shifted the episode a little bit. The episode's a little bit towards more venue based than skills based. So for the last year, we've been speaking about techniques and all those type of things, the bait presentations. That's the episode we did with you previously, was the bait presentation and things like that. But we can only do so many episodes on that topic, so we decided, it was actually my dad's idea to say, let's divert it a little bit towards more venue based, and we're going to go and analyze a specific venue. So this, for the venue for today, we're going to, Dad, before we do the venues, let's quickly, when Richard was talking about the weekend, you had a bit of a up and down weekend. Do you want to quickly do a weekend wrap up for us?
Yeah, not a problem. Most of you must have seen that we had our boat comp again at AHV. So the normal routine, go and feed on Friday, fish on Saturday, and come back on Sunday.
I think that's the most common question we get. Every Friday when you post a video of you guys going to go make a feeding spot, I think there's 5 or 6 people. Are you allowed to go do that? Are you feeding? Why are you feeding? People are going to see that you are feeding. It is allowed. It's light tackle boat. There's different rules for different competitions, but for the cup
definitely. It's like I said to somebody, I commented on one of the guys that
I
asked,
saw that.
I
Are
said
you allowed
him,
to use?
Are you allowed to use a milli bomb? That's also feeding. So we are allowed to, and we do it. I mean, it's nothing that we hide behind or anything else. It's still there's still a technique to it, which I think nobody really understands. Or maybe 1 or 2 people, which I'm not one of. But in any case, we were on the dam on Friday morning early, bright and early. We were there, 7 o'clock. We put our marker in. By 10 o'clock, the wind was really pumping straight into us, or into our spot, but at a rate of about 24 kilometers an hour, building up over 7 kilometers, gives you a bit of a swell. And we realized that I doubt if that's going to be possible for the next day, because the same weather was predicted for Saturday. So eventually, about 11 o'clock Friday morning, myself and Leah decided that no, we're going to put the boat back in the water. We didn't feed anything yet. We just marked a spot that we wanted to go and feed. And we decided to go and lift the marker and go and look for shelter somewhere. We then went to Moelman Island to go and look behind the island, down the wind from the island, and it was just not right. So eventually we decided to go around towards RPA, and then eventually we decided to go and feed in that big bay between RPA and Last Farm. We got a spot there and we put our feed out, and
you were about in what, 7 meters, 6 meters?
Yeah, 7 meters of water. And yes, like then the whole story started. We put the feed out and we were happy and went back, and that's it. Saturday morning we got there, and we started to put out the anchors, and after we anchored and the boat were tied up and everything is done, we realized that we are just too freaking far from the feed. We were the best part, I'd say about 65 meters away from the feed, fishing with 6-foot sloppies into a wind with 4-kilo line. It was just, you need a P4. It was just too far. You can't fish comfortably there at all. But I said to Leah, we are anchored. Let's just quickly see what happens. And immediately we both put out one rod with a plateen, one rod for carp. And immediately Leah caught a barbel, I caught a barbel, another one. And but the barbel was small. They pick up, you can see they pick the platy up, but they swim with it and they come halfway and it comes off, and you skip one and you'll see it's got it right on the edge of the lip, and they were that 1.5 kilo barbel. I got one that was maybe about, my first one was about, I'd say 7, maybe 7.5 kilos, somewhere around there. And then 8 o'clock, we said, by that time the wind was starting to pick up more, and we said, well, it's just a waste of time. We're wasting feed that we've put in the water the previous day. So we decided to pick up all the anchors and do it all over again. In the process of picking up the anchors, there's a little pin right on the bottom of one of the motors. It's got a stainless steel protector plate on that fin at the bottom.
Beaching kit that they've got on.
Yeah, but there's a pin on that thing, and the rope got stuck in that pin. And I battled like crazy to get it off there. Now you again wasting time because you're not anchored. It's a It's just a stuff up. But at the end of the day, I got onto the motor and I sat with my knee, just above the propeller, and eventually I got my hand in the water, and then I realized, okay, here it is, and I got it loose and lifted then all the anchors. So we started at 8 o'clock and we started fishing again at 9:30. So we lost an hour and a half.
Which is not bad.
Like
I'm talking about like for you at your age to go pick up all the anchors, re-anchor everything, doing all of that in an hour and a half. That's not a small feat. It's a lot of time that you lose, but I mean, it's not easy to do that.
I feel that in that hour and a half we wasted battling with that freaking rope. We must have wasted at least a half an hour.
So you say you'd be able to do that in under an hour?
Yeah.
Pick up the anchors?
Yeah, no problem. I'll do it under an hour. Normally, in normal circumstances. But in any case, then we started fishing and immediately we caught a small barbel again and then a small carp. Then I got a carp. And then the battle started. We just couldn't get going. Eventually, I think it must have been about 12 o'clock. Leah started getting the carp. But then in that time, just after we got anchored again, I really was so sick that you can't believe. So I was all over the boat, vomiting.
Spares the details. Spares the details.
Feeding, putting some chum out for the barbel, but it was bad, and eventually I just had to go and lay down, and it carried on like that for the rest of the day till the afternoon when we got back onto the bank. I'd lay down for half an hour, but in that time, Leah will catch a fish and I jump up or get up and go and skip it for her and back on the floor, and it was not good. At the end of the day, luckily I had a good morning with the barbel. So I finished with 12 barbel and 3 carp. I had 2 or 3 kilos, 31.3. Leah had, I'm not sure how many barbels. She had a lot less barbel and her barbel was small. But then I think she more than likely had something like about 12 carp and something like 5 barbel or something to that effect. And she had 30.8. So on the light tackle boat, it's all about the weight. So I've beaten her with 500 grams. So one up for me. So I'm still about 20 behind. So it was. We finished in the bundle. The boat was finished, I think, 9th.
It's just not a great day, but it's a mid-average day.
Yeah,
taking the things in consideration that happened, I think it is a
definitely. And Leah showed again that the Strolick was definitely working for her. She got her fish on the plain floaties, Strolick on the one rod, Spickles on the other rod, and that's what she caught with. I caught 12 of my fish with platties, and the other 3, I think I caught one here, one there, so it was no effect.
Platties are also one of those subjects that's quite a debated topic, a heated topic sometimes, but it is what
I can just put everything for the people in context. Jannie van Heerden and his wife Adele, they won the comp. I'm not sure I think Adele had 46 kilos, and Jannie had 89 kilos. He had a couple of good barbel, I believe. I did not see it. I went and sat in the car. So that was the winning bags and the winning boat, and so they must have had, let's say, 50 and 90 is 140. So they must have had an average of about, I'd say, 65 kilos, where we only had about 30 kilos. But at the end of the day, our boat is still joined first with Lowfree. So we'll see. We'll take them on again next month.
Ja. Alright, maar voordat ons Voordat ons verder gaan in die episode, Dad, I saw something this week on Facebook that I just quickly want to mention. That was really disturbing and something that I feel like I do want to use the platform that we have now to just talk about that. I saw a video of guys that they had a fishing trip, a provincial, I think it was an elite or something like that, and it was raining, and then they were taking the buckies in their 4x4s and they were drifting and doing donuts and stuff like that on the farm, driving through the water and just making absolute mess of the farm.
Yeah, it's good. I wish a farmer get hold of them.
It's been circulating around Facebook. It's something that should not be done. It's because of people like that farmers are refusing us to go fish there. It's putting everybody in a bad light. I know as much as the next guy how much fun it can be on Stains Sapat when it's rained, with the turf and with the 4x4s. It's a hell of a lot of fun. I know how much fun it is. But at the end of the day, we need to respect the farmers' land. We need to respect the roads that we are on. There's so many of the farms that just say, sorry, you will not fish here anymore because of people like that.
If a person like that enjoys it, he must go and enjoy it. But he must really hope and pray that the farmer or me doesn't get hold of them. Because they will definitely, I doubt if they will fish further competitive. It's just not on. Unless they give me their home address and I'll come and spin on their grass and stuff. No, it's unacceptable. And I'll make no story about that. It's no secret about that I will not tolerate that. I think that's bad.
They can come with stories. There were stories that's coming out that say, yeah, but they're going to get stuck if they don't drive like that. If you're going to get stuck, you drive straight and you go straight out of the gate. You're not going to turn around, go through. That's you can clearly see on the video what you guys are doing. So for those people, I'm pretty sure.
I haven't seen it.
Will know exactly
but yeah, no, it's unacceptable. I agree with you.
So I just feel like this is the type of place.
No, I can't say that I've seen it neither.
No, I haven't.
Where
seen
was this
any
competition that took place?
Yeah, it was in the week on my Facebook that I've seen it, and it's recent uploads, so it's things that happen now. And there was a bunch of people that was commenting on it and say that please don't do that. That's why the farms are getting closed.
Oh, well, luckily, more than likely, a person can identify vehicle registration numbers and stuff like that. And I would just say to anybody like that, if they come to an event that we host or that anybody else hosts, just say to them, sorry, it's not acceptable.
No, make an example of one or two.
And
guys,
especially if it's elite, I'm sure that if the management of elite finds it, and they will approach him as well and just say to them, listen, sorry, you're going to jeopardize our fishing experience, and we're not prepared to do that.
Yeah. Okay, but let's switch gears like that guy did, third gear, fourth gear, all the way through to the next topic. So, Dad, you were talking about your boat weekend, and the venue that we're going to discuss tonight also has a close tie to my boating experience. It's a venue that just off of the place where we're going to fish now, I had probably one of my best barbel days ever. But also one of my worst experiences as a day ever. But I think we will leave that for a little bit later. Richard, what venue are we attacking today? You said Valdam is Valdam, but Valdam is only Valdam for you because you've been fishing for years and years and years. So I think for the man, the average Joe down the street, it's not the same thing. So you said you're going to choose one venue. What venue are you choosing today?
No, we said we'll discuss Leeuwplaas tonight.
We did not say that.
So
you said
like I've said before.
Okay, so
I said that.
I
wanted to do Grootdraai.
Pull it up for us. Let me pull it up for us so that we can just have a quick look. Okay, so there's a few things that I can quickly just point out here. Okay, so there you can see there's AHV. Hier's Moelman se eiland. Daar gaan ek vir hulle wys
Just show the
griepies.
people where RPA is as well.
Okay, so hier's RPA.
Yeah,
Here's
that's.
RPA.
And then there were what's that round thing? That's about where. No, further left.
What
is
round
where,
thing?
There where you were now.
Yeah.
At RPA. Yeah, that's what. Okay,
It's just to show it's
in
RPA.
front of that. Just in front of that. A little bit up your screen. That's where we were fishing the weekend.
Yeah.
That's where we were anchored the weekend.
And the people just need to be careful. There's a very big rock bank that comes out here sometimes that
Yeah.
when the water is low, that's quite dangerous. So just keep that in mind for if you ever
Yeah, you can show them where Griekie normally is.
for we can in
That way.
he's our fear.
In that
The-
little,
This
the mouth
this
of
is
that
this is going to be like the little Keerwal. You'll see when the dam gets low. This is going to be like a little shallow Keerwal wat
Not
hier
a-
uitkom.
well, it's a dam wall.
And then
It's under the water.
So whenever you drive here with a boat, just always keep on the opposite side of AHV. So don't go close to AHV. Go on the opposite side because this is where the river goes. So if you go through here, you'll know you'll always be safe. Just always keep to the left. Always keep to the left or to the opposite side of the bank. And then also facing Moelman, you guys usually sit around here.
Yeah. Now that's
then
where
you
the
fish
boat
towards
accident
Moelman.
happened as well. Yeah.
And here you can see where the wind was blowing through. The wind was coming through all of this channel now. I mean, from here to here. I've seen people measure things on Google. I don't know how they do it, but
I depended on somebody that measured it as well. And they said to me it's 7 kilometers.
so it's from here to there. It's and obviously this area here is quite flat as well. So it's not like it's coming over a mountain.
Yeah.
Maar
any
ja,
case.
hier's Moelman. Moelman, next to Moelman.
The island?
Then we're going to go to Leeuwplaas. So this is the Leeuwplaas area. Richard, I think what I want to do, what I'm going to ask you is, we're going to start at the gate. Can you quickly give us a rundown from what you can expect when you get there? What do you see? Where do we fish?
Okay, Saki, yes, obviously, I mean, it changes as the time goes by. But I don't know, can I point there somewhere? There
You can tell me where to go and I'll navigate
Can you just
it
see
to you.
there to the left? Just to the left there, you go down. Carry on going down. Stop right there. That used to be what they call the grasdak. That's where we always used to get together and have the toilets also there.
There was a lapa and stuff.
There was a
this
lapa and there. There's the toilet, yes. So that's where we normally meet in the mornings. Then, once obviously we've drawn, go into your pegs. They go peg from the left-hand bay, so you go all the way into the bay. You'll see
All the way
not
like
quite
here?
there.
Yeah.
No, not. Go a little bit to the. There's somewhere.
Yeah, there
somewhere
where you
there.
are now.
If you go in there, there's normally like a dry tree over there. And from there, that's where we normally.
There's a tree in the water.
There you see the tree, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that it? Or is it a
Possibly.
bit more up?
I think there's 2 trees.
There.
There's a tree.
No, that's
But
something
anyways,
else.
okay,
That's-
around this
all right. So that's where we normally fish from. We can fish further into the bay. If there's a big tournament taking place, we do fish right into that bay as far as possible. Obviously, it gets a lot shallower there. I think your barber fishing will be good there,
And you normally
but
get
yeah,
lekker
we-
stuck there.
and you get stuck. Yes. So yeah,
Your
we do
car
fish
or
into
you?
that bay as well.
No, the rods.
The
You're
rods,
lying.
yeah. And then for me, that whole venue, that whole straight piece of venue over there is all a fair venue to fish on. I mean, it's the same for everybody. If you go a bit more to the center of that, we sort of go more, there where your arrow is now. Just a bit more to the left now. Let's just see if we can see. There's normally a little toilet there. I think that's it there.
Bush
I
toilet.
think this is it.
That's the bush toilet, yes. Now, me personally, I don't like that sitting in front of that bush toilet. I think it's a bit shallower over there.
There's a reason
Some
why there's a
others, I
toilet
just don't-
there.
Die mense kak altyd daar.
Ja, jy kan altyd daar. No, look, it's not a piece of water which I enjoy that. The rest of the bank, I really enjoy fishing. And it's very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Even for everybody.
Yeah, it's
We
very
don't go
even,
around-
Silas.
And does it go around this corner as well, or does it
No,
stop?
we don't fish that area. We don't fish that area at all. We have fished it once before. When the dam seriously gets low, it makes a big bank on the opposite side. And we can ride around, and then you're fishing into the river.
And then you fish towards
So
the
if you
Moelman
go
Island
up with
again.
it-
You,
No, you actually fished to the opposite, Oostrand, where Oostrand's...
yeah, that as well. And to the island. If you
Yes.
take your arrow, Saki, and you put it there in the middle of the dam, go a little bit left. Yeah. Okay, now to the top of your screen. That's about how the bank normally runs there if the water is dry. Now you would be on Leeuplaas fishing towards the island, and then it makes that bend into the river.
Yes. Okay, so I
Where
mean,
you then-
Leeuplaas obviously known
Yeah,
many years ago is actually Brouwers.
yeah,
Is Leeuplaas
You
Brouwer?
call it,
yeah.
it's the old Brouwers, yes.
Old Brouwers. Okay. That
And
makes
that
a
used
lot more
to-
sense.
Yes. I can recall fishing that Leeuplaas for the first time, then Brouwers, with Flom Simon.
Oh, yeah.
Where we waded in maybe a good 150 meters, and we were fishing then into the river, and his little boy Johan was fishing back to where the cars were standing, catching fish. So yeah, we've had a lot of history there.
Yeah, definitely.
I actually want to see that. This is the farmer that also usually takes
you
his
looking
boat all the way from
Yeah.
Val Marina.
From Val Marina. Every day.
Bridget,
For a
have
long
you
time.
seen that? You sit there and fish, and you see this boat comes
All the way from Val Marina, and he goes straight to
Go
Leeuplaas.
check something. One of the farmers, and then boop, climb back on the boat. Zoop, boom,
Yeah, it was
200
definitely-
yummy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly the same guy. The same place, same venue.
Yes, like hier kan ek sommer vir julle gewys hoe lyk dit as ons daar fish. Ek het sommer net op YouTube nie op YouTube nie. Op Google nou gou gecheck hierso kan julle gou sien hoe lyk die. Hier's nog 'n sentraal Gauteng hemp. Ek weet nie wie hier is en kan julle hom herken.
Are you sure that's at Leeuplaas?
Ja.
I don't
that's
recognize those
definitely not
blue gum
Leeuplaas.
trees.
Those trees,
Those
yeah,
trees is not at Leeuplaas.
that's not Leeuplaas, yeah.
Wat Leeuplaas?
No, there's no trees like that.
It shows it's there.
The other photo you had looked as if it could have been. That
That
looks
could
like
possibly be.
that's
There's the
Leeuplaas.
Waar is die bos toilet?
Now, that's Leeuplaas.
Now, even with that Bosch toilet,
I don't know what the
Bosch toilet
Bosch
is
toilet-
actually it's not a building like that. It's more like a Rietbos.
Possibly they're not like this.
So I don't know what venue this is then.
But it looks very much the same, except for the toilet.
But everywhere in Volendam looks the same. Let's be honest.
That's a new toilet that was built in 1940.
But at the end of the day, I think something that makes Leeuplaas really lekker is the fact that it's a quite straight venue. I don't think anybody's going to complain anywhere on the banks. It's a fair place. That's why we fish it a lot. I mean, from the one side to the other side, that is a groot oewer, nee.
Oh, it's a big venue, yeah, definitely.
I'd say it's about
It's a big
1.1
venue, but-
kilometers.
Eh?
How far?
1.1 kilometer.
Nah, it's got to be more than that.
I'm talking
Ah,
on the
you think?
correction. I'm saying about 1. Saki could most probably measure it there.
I need to find out how to measure it. That's the
Okay,
thing
not
that-
a problem. But
Yes, I
at
have
the
to
end of the
agree,
day,
it's a very
it's a
fair venue.
It's a very, very fair venue as far as I'm concerned, especially if you divide it into zones. If you fish open on the bank, then it's not. But
I found it. It's not that difficult. It's really not that difficult. Okay, so if I can share screen again. I think this is going to be the easiest for me to show you. So there you can see from edge to edge, it's about 1.6 kilometers.
yeah, and then we're not around the bend yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think if
let's say,
but if you measure in straight lines. So if a person go from where you stopped and you go then into the bay, it's going to give you another 400-500 meters.
So, but I think you can maybe do a few.
But you must take out that first one. Yeah. Stop there.
So there it
Read
gives
it now.
us 2.1.
2.1. I think that's
Yes,
better.
that's quite a bit more.
Yeah. You will show me how
so
you do
this-
that sucking.
That's a lekker, because now I can check there where Griekie's gat is.
To
How
the
far
other
that is to
side.
the other side, because this is a lekker tool. How did I?
Okay. But in any case, to get back to Leeuwplaas. So I think it's the only problem for me is that piece that's around the bend get a different wind. And often it happens that those guys on that bend are fishing in the afternoon straight into the wind, which is always a lot better than having a crosswind, Richard?
Definitely so. I mean, that point, and a lot of times the wind comes from there between Moormans, the island, and the Moorman side that you're fishing on. It comes through that area there. And if the wind's coming straight into those guys, I mean, the fishing is normally very good for them.
100%
Whereas the rest of the
better.
blanks got the side wind. Wind, yes.
But
So we
usually
battle a
when you
bit more,
guys, but usually when you guys fish a comp, don't you try to cut out that point?
No.
Look, I mean, we've only been fishing because now that there's that Y or the lane drought that goes off there by the drought tree. We only fish it to that drought tree. We don't fish it around the bend. Obviously, if there's too many anglers, we have to fish around the bend as well. And that drought tree is basically on that bend. So yes, I'd say peg 1, peg 2, maybe peg 3 still fish into the wind. The rest of the guys have got the wind from the side. I mean, I was there 3 weeks ago, where peg 1 did well, but I mean, the zone was won by peg 7. Ati sitting next to me. And I mean, he was fishing, there wasn't much wind to say the least. So peg 7 was the better peg on the day. And I think on the Sunday, even peg 6 won the zone. Not even peg 1 by the drought tree. So it's a very fair venue, irrespective whether he's sitting on peg 1 around the bend or a bit of a bend. To me, it's a fair venue.
Preferred species?
Carp, barbel, mudfish.
That's
Yellow
all
is
we fish for,
obviously-
Richard.
Yeah,
That's all we fish for.
exactly. So I mean, but I mean,
So are you going there and you absolutely target carp?
well, look, I mean, we get the carp going at 65 meters,
Yeah.
and so too are the muddies. Also, I'd say the best distances for Leeuwplaas is between 55 and 95 meters. If you want to get the bigger carp, you'll go 105 to 125 meters. But the best distance for me, 55 to 95 meters, there you'll get your carp, your muddies, and even your barbel. You don't even have to go, put those big sinkers on with your flying hands to go to the back there. Those barbel are between 85, I'd say, to 105 meters.
The barbel, those ants, you'll put them between 85 and 105.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry, we lost
We've
you
got
there
the
for a
Lupras,
while.
we
But
literally see
yeah, carry on, carry on.
where you literally see the bauble at a distance of about 85 meters. That's how full up they are there sometimes. We see them when they got their mouths out and their wimpertjies flying. That's where we fish for them.
Whiskers.
Vampers.
Whiskers, ja.
Wimpertjies.
Wimpers.
Well, Richard, on that point, I think maybe I can just quickly tell my little Lupras story. You were talking about the barbel now. That is definitely a venue where, on the right circumstances, I think you can catch a lot of barbel. I went there on a New Year's, op 'n Oudjaarsdag. Decided I'm going to take the boat. I had nothing else planned or whatever. I said to my dad, I'm going to take the boat, go to AHV. And it was still with the old boat. And
Tonight you'll go and party.
yeah, I've got plans for the evening, but I'm going to fish until 3, 4, 5 o'clock, and then I'll go home. Anyways, the morning, get there, put the boat in the water, get everything ready, go get my bottle of Energade, put it on the boat, take the car away. But now I'm all alone, so I launched the boat alone. I put the boat next to the bank, and I quickly park the bakkie, get on the boat, turn around, drive all the way to Lupras. And as you said, you see those barbel. It's just alive. And I had a couple of platties with me, and I had my prop with me, and I huck that plattie, gooi hom. It's like that I'm into the barbel, like crazy. My arms hurt, everything's just net barbers. And it's all those 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kilo barbel. It's not the plain barbecues. It was genuine lekker barbers. Anyways, the days I think I ran out of platties, and I decided, okay, well, it's time to head back, get on the boat, get back. And as I'm driving past the island, now I'm starting to look for my bakkie keys, and I'm like, where did I put my bakkie keys? Where's the bakkie keys? I didn't find the bakkie keys. Can't find the bakkie keys anywhere. And as I'm going through all the motions, it struck me like a lightning bolt that I put the bakkie keys with my Energade on the bow of the boat. And then something happened, and I forgot to take it, and I got back into the boat, and as I pulled away, the Energade bottle fell off the bow. And I saw that, I was like, and I quickly turned around with the boat, and I quickly picked up the bottle, and then I went fishing. And I never remembered that I forgot the bakkie key on the bow. Now I'm sitting here.
It was also off.
Yeah, well, it's definitely now in the middle of Voldam. Now I'm sitting at Voldam with the boat, no spare key. My dad is on his way to Bronkies.
No, we were in Rustenburg at that point.
On your way to Bronkies.
Now,
I phoned my dad. I'm like, Dad, bakkie keys gone. Cost him go all the way, get the bakkie keys. Everything.
We had to go to Bronkhorstspruit. So from Rustenburg, we had to go home and then go to Bronkhorstspruit. So now we had to go from Rustenburg to Boksburg to pick up the keys, to go to AHV, to go back to Boksburg, and then go to Bronkhorstspruit.
If the story could only stop there, but it didn't. But anyway, we'll leave that for...
we will not expand that story.
We'll leave the rest for your imagination. But
So
anyway,
you lost your keys. I had a similar experience. I was up in Zimbabwe, and I was sitting at the back of the boat, and my brother was driving the boat, and it's also a cabin cruiser. And I was sitting there, and I felt the keys, the bakkie keys, in my pockets. So I pulled them out, and I wanted to throw them into the screen in front, and I threw them too high. They went over the screen onto the cabin, and they fell next to where the rail is. They fell there, and lucky that's where it stopped. Otherwise, they were into the Zambezi River. And I mean, we're up there. That's far from home. So I've had that experience.
So take it from us. If you go on the boat, we all get those little floating keychains with a little
Yes.
snap-on swivel key. Just clip it on your key. It's just safe.
Safer.
My dad's
Saki,
got a little.
Saki, the only thing is you would have realized in the afternoon. I don't know where you would have went to look for that float.
At least I would have a chance. At least I would have had a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I had a float, poo noodle on my nets the day with the boat accident, I would
would have
also
also-
have found that. Now I've got poo noodles on, but I haven't got this
Thing for your
situation
key.
again. Yeah.
But yeah, so Luplas, that day, I will never forget that day. That was without a doubt probably the most fun day that I've had barbel fishing off a boat that I've ever had. And it was in extremely shallow water. I was in less than a meter water. I was just drifting through there. And as the school moves, all you do is you just move with them. So I started in that bay there where you come into Luplas.
At the grass
gate.
like.
Eh? That's where I started catching them, and I was following that school all around. It went around the point into the next bay. They were at hard seas, whatever, and I was just yes, it was that was fun. That was
Richard, let's get back to the Popgoy side. Tips. How do you approach
Flavors.
that water?
Flavors,
How-
of course.
no. How do you approach it? Do you feed? Do you work a spot? Do you just fish blindly and move as the fish are moving, or what's the
Barry,
story?
I mean, at Luplas, like I said, I think it's a very fair venue. The water right across the bank over there is all the same depth. It doesn't really change in depth seriously from one side to the other. So I would get there the morning and I would start with a short rod. If I say short, anything between 55 to 65. And I'd put my other rod. As a matter of fact, I mean, I'm going there again in 2 or 3 weeks' time for the trials. And the elite final is going to be there. And I don't see myself casting the 125. Not with a dam that's come up like it has come up. I think there's just too much feed, natural feed, in the water. And you've got all those fish which are in the shallower waters feeding on the natural food. So for me, if I have to go to the Luplas now, I would start with the short game. Maybe a 55-65 and the other rod a 75-85. And yeah, I mean, if you go into the winter months, I would definitely start maybe a 105 with my deep rod. And the other rod, I'd start at maybe a 75 or 85, just because the water is a bit colder. So it's a very flat venue. So there's not to say that you're going to sit on one side and you're going to be fishing at 25, 35 meters. I reckon right through the bank from a 45, 55 is a good start with your one rod. The next
Richard,
rod,
if I may ask, don't you think that if a person can do that 115 and you try and build a spot for you there for the afternoon, don't you think it's worth it?
no, it could be worth it. Just
What-
that, in general, it would be worth it. You can give it a bash. 115 is a good area to fish in. At this point in time, to me, it's a no-go. There's just too much grass and I wouldn't say structure. It's more grass that's grown and you're getting stuck on that grass. And you just don't get your fish out. When I was there 2 weeks ago, you would get not even a reel run. It'll just pull it. You actually see the tip of the rod start bending. And that's where it'll stay. It won't go with the reel. Just because it's already stuck. So it's pulled your line around grass or whatever it is that's inside there, and it's just getting stuck on it. I think Reinhard said to me, even tried one hook, and he's getting stuck with the one hook. So at this point in time, until the dam starts subsiding and pulling back, me personally, I would fish a bit shallower. Just because I
Just give
stand
the
a bit of
grass some
chance
time
of
to actually die properly.
to die down. But I mean, that's going to take a good 2 to 3 months, I think, to
Well,
so that
I must be honest with you. That was part of the problem that we had the weekend there at Last Farm. Especially with the boat moving up and down in that wind. You all of a sudden see something doesn't look lekker. And you pick up the rod and it feels as if you're stuck and you pull and no, there it's coming. And you bring out and there's a whole bunch of grass on the
Remember,
hook.
like, you are sitting very high up.
Yeah.
I mean, you are fishing in 7 meters of water and you are on the boat, so you are pulling it a lot up. If you are standing on the bank, you're pulling it this way.
Yeah,
so
but
then
my
it's gonna be
point,
impossible to get
the
it out.
point I'm trying to make is, I thought that 7 meters must have the bank 7 meters lower must have been covered by water for quite a while already, and I thought that grass would have rotten down and would have been fine. Where definitely 7 meters wasn't. The grass was still there. The grass was still definitely a problem. So I can just imagine on a shallow venue like Leeuwplaas that Richard is saying, where the grass is a problem, that it will definitely be a problem. It makes 100% sense what Richard is saying.
Barry, yes. If we can also just go back to maybe 5-6 weeks ago when we were at Rosleer, we had the same thing. We were getting stuck on the grass right through that bank. You had the areas where 1 or 2 guys would maybe get out all their lines. They don't get stuck. But just the peg next door gets stuck full on. You just don't get a line out.
That's the day when you sat,
I think
or one of the days where you
dam-
sat next to me.
We are sat next to you, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the
you
day
gave me a
after,
mood
I mean,
riding.
that was the Saturday. No, I was just lucky to get a few fish out. But I mean, on the Sunday, I mean, I sat next to on peg 18 or I think or 13 or something. That was the last peg. And I couldn't get a line out. I had to fish at 60 meters, otherwise you just don't get a fish out. Whereas anglers to my left were getting their fish out. And they could fish at 125 meters. I just couldn't get a fish out because I just get stuck. You'll get the run. It just gets stuck in that grass or whatever the structure is. And that's it. You just got to accept it. You got to fish shallower and just try and get a few fish out.
Okay, Richard.
So
Like
Leeuwplaas is
said-
exactly the same.
Yeah. You told us now that you're fishing trials there in a week or two, and you're also fishing the elite finals. So I don't want you to give away too much. I know you're a very secretive guy.
We've seen that on the podcast. That's why he always talks about everything and give us all the tips and everything that we need to know.
Afterwards. But what tips can you give a person like me that's no threat to you?
I've got a different question to that.
Okay.
Yeah, that will, I think, make it a bit easier. Richard, so you said earlier that Leeuwplaas is Valdam. But we know with Valdam, it's always one of those things in the afternoon. If you've been struggling and things have not been going your way, groot stok, groot lood, gooi hom. And now we know that's not an option, because if you do that, you're not going to get your fish out. So what do you do?
For me, Leeuwplaas at this moment, I'm giving a game plan away there now. Because I will definitely, I'm not going to throw a deep rod. I'll be fishing with 2 short rods, and I'll first see the guys to my left and to my right, what they are doing. If they're fishing a deeper rod and they're getting fish out, I'll give it a go. Otherwise, I'm going to fish 2 short rods. I mean, I fished the elite there last week, Saturday. Not the week before. And I mean, myself and Dirk sat next to each other, and we were fishing the short game. Because the deeper rods were just getting stuck. I threw it once, and that was it. It got stuck, and I just stuck to the short game rather. There's no point in going out there and trying to catch the fish at 125 or 115 meters, but you can't get it out. Because you've still wasted that half an hour that has lied there, it's picked it up, it started running with the reel, or it's just bit back, and you're not going to get that fish out.
Okay, Richard, but let me put this to you. What are you going to do? How will you handle the situation if it gets to 1 o'clock You've been fishing the short game and you still got 1 or 2 fish.
Like I said, Barry, I will be checking the guys left and right on me if
They
are
doing the short game. But you're not getting the
they're
fish.
not doing the short game.
They do.
Okay, but if they are doing the long game and they're getting the fish, I know
they're not
Petri
doing
Venter, I mean,
They're doing the short game.
They're
You are
doing the
doing the
long
short game. They're getting fish. You are not getting fish.
no, well then I've
That-
got to
that's
make a
my
plan.
typical
Obviously, I'm doing something
situation.
wrong. No, well, I think maybe just go plain, change your baits, go more natural. I think this weekend gone by as well, we realized that we should actually just try and fish more natural. Take off all the dips. So that's what I would do. Take all the dips off.
Throw. No,
Yeah.
you
The dam's
just-
got a lot
you
of
just
water.
Take the dips and
The
throw it in
dam's
the
got a lot of water. Dam's got a lot of water. It's got a lot of natural feed. And we going, why would we get a bite after an hour and a half that has been lying there? Put it in the next time, you don't put any dips on, and within 15 minutes you get a bite.
So how
That's
long would
saying
you
something.
leave your? How long would you leave a rod?
Well, I mean, I would start for not longer than half an hour. I mean, Dirk was sitting next to me and he's saying every 20 minutes he was casting and he was doing it. So you'd get a fish on 7 or 8 minutes, you'd bring it out, put it into the net, you recast, it'll allow maybe 20 minutes and you'd pull it out, you'd recast it. So that's something you could try then. I'm sorry, I'm sitting here, I'm getting a cramp in my leg.
Hierdie
from
podcast,
the weekend.
hierdie podcast is so lekker. Oom Richard kry skoon krampe. Hy weet van hom kramp so lekker is hierdie podcast.
Richard,
Barry, and just to get back to you were saying, what tips have I got for you? Like I've said, Voldam is Voldam. If I get there, my first cast basically will be Vix and Loti.
oh,
That's
wow.
my trusted Vix and Loti. What I put on the hook would be either a worm, a vampire, or just a float. As plain as possible. That's the one rod.
Richard, let me. I just want to interrupt you there quickly. I don't think I have caught a fish with Vix and Loti in the last 20 years.
Have you got the right
tried it
Loti?
newer. Well, if you think Loti is going to make the difference in 20
Okay.
years, then maybe.
Let me put it to you this way.
I
Just
know of
explain to me
plenty-
how you put your
let-
Vix and Loti on.
Yeah, that's a big story that everybody always says. Which one you put on first? The Loti,
I
put
put
the Loti first and then the Vixen.
Yeah, normally as a norm, I would put the Vix on first and cover it with a Loti.
Okay.
That's how I would normally do it.
How
But
much
if
Vix?
the people then very little, like it's just that a little bit of Vix, and then cover it with a Loti. Because
Yeah,
that's
How would Richard? How would you do it, Richard?
That's me now. I mean, I put even less on. Basically,
Yeah,
I don't do that spray because it's too much. I
Yeah,
basically unscrew
mine's-
the top, unscrew my top, and I just touch that little
Your
part
top.
that's in the. I don't blow my top. The top of the bottle. I unscrew it, and the little pipe that's in the bottle, I just touch it with that.
yeah.
That's all Vic. So you could nearly say I'm fishing just Loti.
Okay.
And then
Have
what
you
I do is
tried
I
it
put
just
it-
fishing Loti?
No, I haven't.
I think
I
it's
So do you
coming
think
back-
that touch makes a difference?
I don't know. I'm catching, for the past 20 years, I've been catching fish on Vix and Loti. You haven't been catching fish. So it's been working for me.
But I also haven't caught on Loti, plain Loti. And I've tried it all the ways. I haven't got Vix in my box anymore.
Okay.
I've taken it out because it's just me. I've got it in a crate somewhere, but it's not in my box.
Okay, and then, what I do is I'll put mine down the line.
Yeah. The
It's
Vicks.
just the way I do it. No, the
The
Luati.
Vicks. Oh.
The Luati.
Okay. Yeah, that
Comes
I'll
down
do
the
quite
line.
often as well.
And it just runs over that little touch of Vicks, and that's me. If I have to put something with that, I'll either put a devil's fork or I'll put petit chinin with it. If I change it up during the course of the day. Devil's fork or I'll put petit chinin with it. And that's the type of combo I'll fish with it.
Yeah, that's
And
all.
your
Devil's
hook
fork
baits?
is... I'll play around with either
So
the
you
maggots,
said a worm, a vampire, or just a
the
float.
vampire, just a float.
So
play
you
around
don't
with
fish
it.
a dough at all?
No, we do fish though. But the last couple of outings I've been fishing floats with the vampires, the little white vampire, and the worm.
That's a garlic float, you know that?
Yeah.
That's a garlic float, yes. The vampire, the white one. That's what I've been playing around with. I haven't had much success with it. If I look at my results, they're not too good.
Typically, you will tell me what you're not having success with. I want to know what you're having success with, Richard.
But that's what I've been doing. Having success is been fishing with a worm and a float. But it's not been working lately for some other reason. Maybe I've been feeding my worms the wrong type of blooming feed. I don't know. Because, I just can't get them on the go with it anymore. For what reason, I've got no idea.
I just quickly want to touch on that. So is the elite final at Looplas?
Yeah.
Is that the teams thing is also there?
I don't know where the team's story are.
The teams is also there, yeah.
Okay.
The teams is also going to take place at Looplas. I think the
I thought
seniors...
that's a Bierman.
The seniors
What is that
semi-final.
Bierman?
It's the seniors that are going to fish at Biermans.
You still a senior,
Semi-final.
eh?
It's a Saturday.
You still a
No,
senior,
it's
eh?
in the Masters. Master.
You youngsters.
I wish, eh?
Ja, daar was biermans in vergelijking met Looplas.
Can you put your map up?
Basically at the back of Looplas.
Put your map up. Then you go to the tar road.
Which way?
No, other way. There, behind you. There.
Hierso.
That bay. That bay is to the left. Come to the left. That's where your essays were.
Ja, ja, jy het ek geblank. Jy het ek gesit,
Ja,
jy het
ja,
ek geblank
ja.
op 'n SA's. Net hierso.
Yeah, that's it.
Ja, nee, ek weet ek het net kyk in vergelyking met waar.
Yeah, it's just behind it. But the beer one is in the Wilge River and Moelman's in the Waal River.
Yes, Richard, ek het net hier geblank.
Wasn't Richard your captain or something?
No. No, it was the years after Richard. But on that specific peg, for the 3 days of the essays, it didn't produce a single fish.
Yeah, true.
I was fishing with Matthew, I think, McCulloch, and I was sitting, I think left or right. I think I was sitting on the left-hand side, and on that peg, the left-hand side of that peg for the whole essays didn't produce a single fish.
You can see it wasn't me that were fishing there. Because our cast so skew, I would definitely have caught one.
Bierman is nie my favorite nie, but anyways.
No, definitely not my favorite neither.
I think that's definitely a venue we're going to have to touch on that. And I see Hearties is also a venue that we need to talk about. There's quite a few venues that we're going to have to touch on.
Richard, just lastly, I would want to ask you, what's your opinion? That's not venue related. When you get stuck like that, like you're saying now, you can't fish deep. What's your opinion about a reed flight race versus a bottom weight?
Barry, I think you had that conversation with me where you were saying if you throw in a bottom, yeah, you've had that conversation.
Okay, but that was offline.
Well, yeah.
That was not on the podcast then.
No. You were saying now you stand a better chance. I got it through the obstacles. I wouldn't even say
I
over.
promise.
I got
I
it through the
promise you,
obstacles.
try it. Try it.
So-
I'm sure we will get positive results, positive feedback.
I'll definitely give it a go. I don't know whether I'll give it a go at the or maybe on the team's day. I'll give it a bash.
But if you battle, why not? I always say, if you're doing well on 60,
Don't
why do you want to
change-
bother?
Yeah. Don't
Yeah, I
change.
wouldn't.
But if you battle and you're sitting and you're down in the dumps, try it.
You've got nothing to lose.
Nothing, absolutely nothing.
Yes.
All right. Luister,
So,
ek
ja.
sien die tyd het ons so 'n bietjie gevang. Richard, I've got one question for you before we go, relating to a follow-up of a next episode that I want to do. If you would say one specific angler that you would ask for advice when you go to Targu, let's use Targu as a venue, who would you ask?
Sure. Somebody that can cast a far distance.
Why?
Gideon. Ask Gideon again.
But Gideon's been on the podcast now.
Dog
too
is a
many
lot
times.
shallow. Yeah, no. No, look, I mean, Targa to me is a very, very shallow piece of water.
But it's a close.
I think Duplas is shallow, but
I think it's a venue where you can really catch a lot of fish close by. The short game is definitely on there. Richard?
Barry, yeah,
Richard?
there, I hear you now.
Okay, I say, as
I
far
can
as
hear you
I'm
now.
concerned, Targa to me is always a venue where more than often you do the short game.
I tend to disagree. I've always had to fish 85 plus at Targu.
But
Maybe
85
I'm
is
just
short.
in incorrect areas. But that's what it's not so short. I mean, I'm talking short is 45 to
Yeah.
to
No, that
65
as well.
meters. That's short.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So, yeah, who can we
But-
get there? Who can we ask? I really wouldn't be able to give you an answer. Who can you ask for Targu? Hoor jy my, Saki? Ek weet nie.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you. I'm just
we're
surprised.
waiting. We're
I'm just,
waiting.
I'm just surprised that you that's your answer on that.
Can
was
I give
looking
you
at-
can I give you an answer?
No, look,
Saki?
I mean,
Yeah.
I want to tell you why Richard doesn't want to ask anybody.
Why?
Because he's got 30 years or 40 years of
Yeah, he
experience.
knows. He doesn't need
He
to
knows.
ask.
He knows everybody else is going to talk shit to him.
And
So he's
everybody's
not
gonna
going to
ask
ask
him.
anybody. He's not going to ask anybody. He's going to take the lead from the word go and carry on. That's the type of
I think
people
that's-
that
I'm
we
gonna
get
be
on the
very honest with you.
podcast.
Targu hasn't been a venue that I've fished many times. If I've been there maybe 15 times, 20 times at the most, that's
How
a
many
lot.
times did we fish trials there? 6 days.
Many times, Richard.
No, twice.
6
fished
days a
twice.
year.
So that's 6 days. So that's 6
No.
times. I'm saying 15 to 20 times I've fished that venue. And I can recall every time I fished there, I fished a minimum of maybe 85 meters, which is not a short game. So to me,
No wonder you don't
you've
go
been
there.
there quite often. So, well, I don't know if you can still go there. Is it still
Yeah,
open to the
yes.
public?
That's now what's
Val
what
de
do they call
goede
it?
Val de goede
Goede Hoop. Goede Hoop.
Okay, well, I
That
haven't
Goede
been
Hoop?
there in... You sure it's Goede Hoop?
Yeah. Goede Hoop is from, you know where that big sloop is going up the hill?
Hier kan ek wys. Daar's Targu, daar's Goede Hoop.
Waar is hy nou?
Hier's Goede Hoop, hier's Targu.
No.
Oh, he's-
That's Targo's house.
His Bierman's.
Yeah. Okay.
That
Go
is
there
Targo
to
there,
Targo's
which-
house. Okay, there you see where the house is. Then if you come round to the left, Saki, that's where we
Yes.
normally come in. That's
That's-
no.
that-
Go to the right. Go to the right. That's where we normally come in.
Yes.
Then you get that first bay and makes that point and goes into the next bay.
Yes.
Okay, now you go around the bay. There you see that go up, Saki. Up. There you see that deep sloop,
Sloot, yes.
right? And from there, just to the right of that, that's where Goede Hoop starts. So that whole section where the seniors were always fishing trials, right to the right and the left hand fence, which is there where you are now. Saki, just move your
Yes.
arrow. Yeah, there you can see the houses of those huts of Goede Hoop.
Okay, that's all new to me. That was
That's
never
all
there when
Targo. That's Targo. Yeah, those houses are new,
Yeah.
but that's
We
Targo.
But I mean,
we fished
they
on
were
this
those-
side, right? Dad?
No. Ooh.
The late when I was a junior,
The ladies
'cause
used
the
to fish on this side.
The ladies fished further to the right. Come down.
Down there
The
where you are
ladies
now.
fished that section now.
Yes.
Where you now?
And the juniors.
That's
in the juniors.
that's where the
we did
ladies
research.
fished. No, the juniors were go far left. Yeah. No, right. Go up that section. That's where the juniors always sat.
Oh, is dit al taai deur die hek gery het so sideways?
That's it.
Yeah.
All right.
So
but
the
we'll-
piece
that-
that's there to the right is obviously the way the seniors used to sit.
No. But that's
the left.
definitely a venue for
I mean, to the
a
left,
different
yes.
day.
Yeah.
I was just trying to get some names from you and Richard to see who you'd think would be good. But if you say you don't know Targo, then obviously that's not the venue.
All
that
I'm
I
saying
should
is, I
ask
mean,
you.
the last couple of years, who has really fished Targo? I don't know. Even in the province, I don't know of the clubs that have been going to Targo.
No, I've
We've been
fished
fishing
a couple
more.
of elites. Myself and Saki fished the elite there when he was here on his first visit.
Yeah.
We fished the elite.
Okay, how
and
long
I
ago is that?
4 years.
Okay.
The
The last couple of years, I really don't know.
yeah. I still say it's a freaking, as far as I'm concerned, a very good venue and also a very fair venue.
Come on, so we'll touch on that on
We'll
a different
get to
episode.
that.
Well, Richard, I want to thank you for all your information that you gave us. It's always lucky to have an episode with you. It's always a good performing video, so I know that the listeners also enjoy these ones. Dad?
I've got a last question for you before you say goodbye.
Yes.
You said your first rod would be Vixen Lueti. Your second rod?
Pankiana. It's one of my
Okay,
options.
Thank you.
No, I'll give you another option. I'll give you another option.
Spickles.
No, chop chop,
Yeah.
chop chop, bass.
Okay.
It's another option.
Good.
That's just on the ball. And I'm serious when I say I'll fish a worm with a float, I'll fish a worm just on its own. You can write it down. Or I'll just
I'm
fish a
doing.
float. That's me.
That's something that you mentioned a couple of things now that I would not have thought.
My pa gaan seker net skryf tap and beast.
Yeah, I get tap beast
Yes.
Tap and beast.
and spickles.
But anyways, alright, Dad.
Lueti.
Dankie dat pa aan daai kant van die vure doodgeslaan het. Ek dink dit is tyd vir hierdie man om
In die bed te
bedwaarts toe te
kry.
gaan. Dis
Ek
nou
wil vir
net-
die mense sê hulle moet Sakkie verskoon as hy vanaand daar sit te gaap. Maar ek dink as ek reg is dit nou so 10 voor 2.
Ja,
10
ek
voor 2
werk-
in die oggend en hy werk 7 uur moet al by die werk wees.
Ek werk oor
So-
5 ure. So, oor 5 ure begin ek werk. So laat ek gou 'n paar ure se slaping kan kry. Maar net ek wil vir 'n paar dankie sê oor Richard. Moes dankie, het ons baie lekker gewees. Ek hoop ons doen dit weer binnekort.
Dankie
No,
Sak.
thanks a lot, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure just sitting here chatting with you guys. And I think the future's looking good. I can't wait for the next podcast to hear Targo. Let's see who you guys get. Because
Maybe
I'm
we'll
serious.
convince you
I
to
don't
go
know
there,
who's been.
Richard.
No, you won't someone get me there. I just find the dirt road too far.
Yeah, no,
I mean, that
that
dirt
is
road to
that
get
is something that
Tigers
keeps
like-
a lot of us away.
Yeah, no, I don't like that piece of dirt road. I really don't like it.
Oh, dis 'n
Rather
groot
give me,
daai.
I'd rather go to Riviera, which is also a shallow piece of water. It's a lot closer, and it's also shallower, and it's on the Targo Road.
Yeah.
So it's
only
drive Riviera.
about 5 or 6 km shorter.
Yeah, but 5 or 6 Ks if you've
No,
already
a lot more
done
than
10
that.
or 12 is already a lot. Alright julle, as julle geluister het tot nou toe wil ek vir julle dankie sê. Tune in volgende week, same time, same place, 12:00 Woensdag, lunch date. Hierdie was episode 66, dan sal daai episode 67 wees. So ons gaan sterk een van die dae, wat is daai episode 100. So dan sien ons julle volgende week. Cheers.